Love by Rage Against the Machine. I do not know if there is a more fun song to play than this. There is just so much energy in this tune, coming from the vocals, from the guitar, from the drums, from the bass, you name it. And there's just so much going on the guitar that's, not a whole lot of musical material necessarily, but there's a lot to think about. So we've got some specific articulations, some staccato articulations. We've got tons of octave shapes, some power chords. We got one bar chord in there that I can recall right now. Lots of funk rhythms and raking. That's probably going to be the most complicated part of it all. Some palm muting. So just lots of fun stuff. I think you'll really dig it. So let's jump right in. All right, so I'm just going to break this down riff by riff. First off, get into drop D tuning. The first thing we're going to hear is a big D5 chord, which is going to be all 6 strings. I've basically got a D shape there, but with, I'm kind of using a bar, but you don't really need the bar. Finger 1 on string 3 there, finger 2 on string 2, and then my pinky finger 4 on string 1. You're going to hear that strum several times, and then it goes to the bass, and then we've got this guitar part. So what you want to do here is basically treat your pick like a magnet. The second you pick it, the string, just return back to that string. You can also use your, the flesh of your hand as well, but since we're going right back to pluck string 6, we'll just take the pick to it as well. And that's going to give us that short articulation. You don't necessarily want to palm mute it. It's just a short articulation. Sorry. And we've got that little bend. So it's just string 6 open 3 times, and then on frets 11, 12 on string 4, and 11, 12 on string 3. Times in the 4th time, string 3 fret 12, just up and down. I believe you go through that twice. Then we're going to jump down here to this octave, E flat or D sharp, however you want to think about that. That is string 5 fret 6 and string 3 fret 8. I tend to use my index and pinky, fingers 1 and 4 for that octave shape. Keeps my hand relaxed. And so we're coming out of just string 5 fret 6 initially, but I've already got my pinky ready to go. So just a down up strum on the octave there. So I'm doing the same thing as what I was just talking about for the other part of the intro, just bringing that pick back to the string. It's kind of like slingshotting. And then I put that 3rd string down as well. And we're just getting those 2 strings ringing out 5 and 3. Okay, main riff here on the verse is... Okay, so string 6 open, and then string 5 fret 3 to fret 5, hammer on. Then you're going to hear this little down up muted strum, and then string 4 fret 3 to 4, hammer on with fingers 1 and 2, back to string 5 fret 5, open string 6, and then we're going to hit a 2-string power chord going from the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret back to the 2nd fret. So all that slowly. So I'm basically in one position except for when I go use those power chords there. So I'd follow that fingering. On the little muted rake, I'm really just catching string 6. I'm not really thinking too much about that. If I catch another one, great. but I've got my palm in place, or the heel of my hand in place, just to keep that muted. Sorry. So the power chord there is just strings 6 and 5, 6 and 5, and I'm just using my index finger to slide back and forth. Then we're going to do the exact same riff, but all palm muted. That's when the lyrics come in. So basically just going to keep doing that as the lyrics are going through the verse, and then we've got... So it's the same thing 3 times here. Basically we're starting the riff out the same way. And then we jump up here to string 3 fret 9, or sorry, string 4 fret 9. And then go back and repeat. String 4 fret 8. String 4 fret 7, and I use my 3rd finger for each one of those. And then C5. I believe it's palm muted, can't remember. And then we jump into a D octave here. Let me go through that again. Now we're getting into the pre-chorus right there with the D octave. So again, open string 6, hammer on, down up, muted rake, 9, repeat, 8, 7, palm mute on C5, jump up to the octave. So I use fingers 1 and 3 on the C5 chord, 1 and 4 for the octave. Now, for this kind of funk swing stuff that's happening here, I'm not going to get too caught up in calling out the directions because I think it'll be too much coming at you. So I'm just going to do it slow and basically have you follow the video. So there's 3 variations here where the first time it's really stripped down, and then we start adding in some muted raking, and then we add a slide in, which can be a little tricky to get timing wise, but I'll just do it real slow and in time. So initially we go, oops, sorry. So that's just down, up, down right there. I'm going to do that 4 times. Lots of waiting time in between. And then 4 times on this. Okay, so these 16th notes are swung, right? So it's uneven 16th notes. Da 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 da. The very beginning of that, I think, is important. You'll hear it specifically in the studio recording. It's down up on the strum, an up rake, and then an immediate down strum. So I would work on getting that down specifically. And then just down up on the raking, and then it repeats. So on and so forth. And then the last iteration is basically the same thing, but we've got this little slide out of the D octave. So down, up, down, up, down, up. And then we're going to come right back in, okay? So just real slow. I'll put 2 of those together. So when we're getting into the raking there, it's down, up, down, up, down. And on that 6th would-be rake, press your strings down, slide out and back in. So you got to be careful with your timing of when you're sliding out and getting back to the downbeat to repeat that riff. On that last one, slide all the way up to 17 and 19 here. Same, it's just an octave of the D's there. I can't remember if it goes that much. I think it's just like that. And then we're coming back into so here on this one specifically, I'm just going to do it slow, pay attention to the strum directions. Basically, when you're thinking kind of funk style, your right hand is just going to be going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and we're swung here. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, but then you're determining when you're going to strike those strings, either for a rake or a strum. So if I sit here and call every single little detail out, it's going to be like, it takes forever. And it's even more confusing that way. I think just use your ear and get the just the mechanics down. You'll start hearing it and it'll just start clicking. So and then here I'm jumping to power chord, string 6 and 5, 6 and 5, and then string 5, fret 3. You could potentially set up the octave there. I've seen it written both ways. I didn't go and check and see what Morello's doing, but or that's basically going to return back to the verse riff. So that's the majority of the tune, which brings us to the really fast strumming section on the octave shapes. And so the rhythm that's being used here, and the way that I'm thinking about it, is sextuplets. And the reason I say that is you should focus on that rhythm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Otherwise, it can be very difficult to keep track of where you're at. Not difficult, but it's just easy to lose that pace and know when to shift. So I'm going to go through the specific frets that we're going to be on without the strumming, and then I'll add the strumming in. So basically what we're doing is walking up a D minor scale, which is a good thing to learn, with the octave. So I'm going to call my frets out based on finger 1 here. Fret 5, D. Fret 7, E, fret 8, F, fret 10, G, fret 12, A, fret 13, B flat, fret 15, C, and fret 17, D. So before you're trying to add the strumming in, I would definitely make sure you're seeing that very clearly and understanding that pattern, knowing where your fingers are going. Okay, so if we go through that slowly, I'm just going to put that emphasis on every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To D here on fret 17, we're going to go down, up, and slide. So a little bit faster on that. brings us back into, that's all repeat there. So like I said, practice that slow, know where you need to be going, decide whether you're going to use 1-3 or 1-4. You need everything muted here, right? Everything that you're not pressing down. So strings 6, 4, 2, and 1 all need to be muted. Very loose wrist on that part. So on and so forth, and a very light, relaxed pick grip. And then that brings us to the very end. Oh, if you want to know what to play over the solo, I think you just do that over and over. We get to this D minor 7, the only bar chord here. So, relatively straightforward on that. We're constantly hitting the strings. It's swung again. Da, 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 down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I've just got to determine when to apply the pressure or relax the fingers for the strum or the rake. So it is 2 strums, 2 rakes, and then 4 strums, 2 rakes, 4 strums, 2 rakes. Can't remember exactly how many times that happens, but you'll hear it in the tune, obviously. And then that falls right into that quick strumming that we saw on the octaves before on 5 and 7 on D there. And back to what we were doing in the beginning. And then drag that octave there. So all of that together. That is it, guys. So I'd say on the strumming stuff, make sure the swing feel is there. If you don't know what swing feel is, check out one of my other videos where I'm talking about that. But it's just kind of that uneven feel, long on the down, short on the up. If you haven't done muting before, be patient. Just listen to the little bits of the song so that you're able to just kind of hum it and sing it and visualize it back to yourself. All it is in the left hand is just, as long as you're placed right where you need to be, you don't need to take your hand off, right? It's just letting the strings kind of lift you up. Relaxing your hand, strings will push your fingers up, and then you just engage again. So it's there's not a whole lot happening there, right? Like whether it's with the octaves or with the bar chord, it's just this light pulsing of the hand. Trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say before we wrap up. Make sure you're getting the proper articulations in there. Be aware of which fingers you're using. Stay consistent with that. And that's it. I'm going to shut up. Guys, go have fun with it. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.